The famous story, a farmer, he got a letter from a lawyer in the big city that there's an inheritance waiting for him, a large inheritance. So he shared the great news with his friends and he said goodbye to them. I'm traveling into the city, and he gets his horse and buggy, and his friend tells him, "You're a rich man, what are you going with a horse and buggy for? Why don't you just take the train?" He says, "A train? I never was on a train." So he says, "No, there's always a first time. Take a train." He goes to buy a ticket in the post office for a train ticket, and the man behind the counter asks him, "So what would you like, a third-class ticket or a second-class ticket?" So he says, "What's the difference?" He says that the second-class ticket, you know, there's upholstered seats, it's a little more roomy. So he asks him, "What's a first-class ticket?" So the man tells him, "A first-class ticket, that's for the special people. You get your own cabin and you travel in luxury. But a ticket's expensive." He says, "Yeah, I want to buy the first-class ticket." Okay, he buys the ticket. A couple of days later, goes to the train station, and he's first time, he doesn't know where to go, he just follows the crowd. Follows the crowd into the train, pushes, finds himself a seat, sits down. After a short while, he falls asleep. And all of a sudden, he feels a shove from the conductor. And the conductor's telling him, "Hey, ticket, ticket." So he says, yeah, I have a ticket. I have a first-class ticket. And all the passengers burst out laughing. So he says, no, don't laugh. And he takes out of his pocket a first-class ticket. And the conductor looks at him. He says, "What are you doing here? Why aren't you in first class?" So he says, "I just followed the crowd. I went with everyone else." So he says, "You're not everyone else. You're special." Chazaq Heritage gave out a book now. It's called Positive Vision. It's on Shmir Sinayim. So they bring this mashal, and they bring it for Shmir Sinayim. We all have to know we're not just anyone else. We're special. We're princes. Let's not degrade our status. If we look where we shouldn't, if we get nishpa, the hashpah of the goyish gas, if they contaminate our eyes with their terrible things, with their terrible ashkafas, then we're not princes. We have to realize we're first-class people. We're special. We're not everyone else. Each and every one of us, every Yid. I saw a story from the Satmar Rebbe. The Satmar Rebbe, he had some Hasidim that came into Williamsburg from the east side. So one time they were standing after the tish and they were schmoozing, and the Satmar Rebbe passed by and he asked him, "What's going on? What are you talking about?" So they said, "We're schmoozing that it says that when people travel to a Rebbe, so whenever you travel, all the ways, the highways, the paths, the roads, it's going to be put on your scale on the side of the mitzvahs, and that's going to help weigh down the mitzvah side." So they said to the Satmar Rebbe, "We came from the east side, we came on the Williamsburg Bridge, you know, it's very heavy. The Williamsburg Bridge is it's a great structure, it's a lot of metal, and there are trains on it with cars, everything's going to be put on our scale." So the Satmar Rebbe said, "Yeah, that's all fine and dandy. Aber wie schwer is a Riya Asura? How heavy is it when there was no Shmir Sinayim, if you looked at something that you weren't supposed to on the way? Wie schwer is a Riya Asura? That weighs down. How heavy is such a Riya?" But let's think of the other side. How heavy L'Toiva is when we are mizgaber, when we strengthen ourselves not to look at something, even one time when we withstand the temptation. What a nachas ruach Hashem has from us. How heavy is it on the mitzvah side, that sur meirah, that shmir sinayim, that guarding your eyes. Let's remember, we are princes. We are special. We are first-class passengers. We're just not anybody. We are special.